going one week behind our regular schedule, and unfortunately, we haven't arranged an additional class yet. So, we will fix this matter in coming weeks, inshallah. So, let's go to the next slide and let us see what we have to discuss for this. Okay, students, in our last lecture, we have discussed about the Hit-Tophian equation in Cartesian coordinate system and cylindrical coordinate systems. Students, please confirm me that the share screen is properly visible to you and my voice is clear to everyone. Please raise your hands. Okay, that's great. Okay, so over today's article is about the Heat-Diffusion equation in spherical coordinate system. So overall, we have basically uh, three coordinate systems. There is a cylindrical coordinate system, Cartesian coordinate system, and spherical coordinate system. So in our previous two lectures, we have a detailed discussion about the Cartesian coordinate system and cylindrical coordinate system. And you are very much familiar about the heat transfer and temperature distribution within the Cartesian and cylindrical coordinate system. And in the similar manner, we will proceed for the Hit-Tophian equation in spherical coordinate system. So let's start from here. Let us consider a small element of a sphere as shown in figure 1. There is a figure 1 on the next slide, in which heat flows in all three directions, r, theta and phi, as shown in figure below. So before explaining everything present on this slide, I am going on to the next slide and I will give you 7 minutes to draw this figure. Okay, let me explain something and then you will draw this figure so that you may be able to draw it easily. Let us consider this is a ball, this is a football or a tennis ball or a hot ball. Consider, consider it is a solid sphere, just like a hot ball. It is not a circle. It's a sphere. You have seen the tennis ball or hot ball. Tennis ball is hollow from inside and hard ball is a solid sphere. Okay. So these lines, I have shown it's one section. This is the center line passing from the center of the sphere. This line is the center line. And here, this is the center line. And this is the another center line that is passing from here and passing from here. And I have shown our cross section, it's sum of lines. You can see light lines here like this. This is going this. This is going in this manner, this manner, this manner. These are the infinite number of lines. I have shown only 3, 4, 6 lines to represent different components and the elements desired for the explanation of this figure and for our desired calculations. So we need to calculate or we need to formulate a correlation to find out the temperature distribution from this spherical coordinate system. So as we have done in our previous cases, that we have taken a small part or component of a Cartesian coordinate system or a cylindrical coordinate system. What we have done there, we have picked a small element of a plane wall or a cylinder. We calculated the temperature distribution there from that small element of a plane wall or a cylinder, and then we integrate it throughout the boundary limits of wall and cylinder, and by integrating that we have calculated the overall heat transfer through that system. So the same thing we will do in this case. What we have done, from the center, I have marked a point here, from the center there is a line going in this way. Look at here, this is a line I have no, I am going to cut a small piece from this solid sphere. Just imagine, because it is a 3D component, so just go to the imagination and think that you have a hot ball. Okay, let's I am giving you a very interesting example. You have a watermelon. Have you ever seen that when you go to purchase a watermelon, you want to check it is okay or not? It is a reddish. It is a good taste, something like that. And you are the shopkeeper to cut a small piece from its surface, and you want to check the actual scenario or a piece of that from the inside. It is just like that. Just imagine that we are going to cut a piece of that solid sphere from its surface. Just imagine a watermelon. Okay. So from its center, there is a line going this way, and similarly the line going in this way and this way, and we have cut a piece of that sphere at certain angle from the center. You know that when you are going to cut a sphere, you will not get a rectangular part, you will not get a square part. It would be like a trapezoidal part. You have seen the trapezoidal, whose two sides are parallel to each other but not equal in length. They are at angular direction. So it is just looking like a trapezoid. Okay, if you see it. So if you are truly imagining a watermelon, and you can imagine that when a shopkeeper cut a solid part of from its surface, you get this shape. So the same kind of shape we have considered throughout this sphere. Now in that case, we will calculate the overall heat transfer through this sphere, through this small element of the sphere, and then we will integrate it across the boundary limits of this sphere. So let me explain you what is the actual scenario here. Okay, so you can see this small element has dimensions A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. Okay. It has how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The side on our side. It has total 6 sides. You know that any solid object which is cut in a form of rectangle, cube, or whatsoever, if it is solid, it would have 6 sides. Okay. So in this case, we also have overall 6 sides. So now we need to calculate in the same manner. We have discussed for the cylinder the different parts of this small piece of component. If I see, let me try to draw this center line here. Let me draw this center line here. I am just drawing it for you so that you may get a better understanding what we are going to do. Okay, you can see. Okay, so we have this center and this is the outer periphery of the sphere, and from the center to the outer periphery the total distance would be the radius, and you know that from the center to the outer periphery at any point the radius would be equal. Your some of colleagues has not yet joined the class. It would be better if you drop a text to them and ask them to join the class, because today's lecture is very important. So let me see if this is a piece of element, and because I haven't got this piece of element through the center, so it is at certain distance from the center. From here to here, I represented this distance with R. This distance. This distance is what? This is R. Okay. The distance of the inner part of this element from the center, the distance is R. Okay. There is a line basically. There is a line which is not visible because I have marked this line with a lead pencil. You will not find this figure in any book because I have drawn this figure by myself. So you have to keep this figure. So this is the line from here to here and going to the periphery, and from here to here, from this point E to F, this distance is dr. Okay, from here to here, this distance is dr. Dr is representing the thickness of this small element in r direction. Okay, in r direction, at the radial direction. So the distance of this piece of element that is cut from the sphere, from the center from here to here, is r, that is represented by small r, and because it is a very small piece of element, you can say of negligible thickness, so it is represented by dr. Okay, the thickness from here to here, or thickness from here to here, this is in a radial direction. From here to here, from here to here, each thickness in radial direction, that is equal to dr. Okay, so this is basically the thickness. This is the line basically. This is the line. Okay, and say this is the end point. This is the end point. This is the center and this is the outer periphery of the sphere. I am not going to draw this element here because there is no purpose to draw the same figure again here. I just want to show you some other things which I would like to show you. Okay, so the angle, because it is a solid object, the angle of this surface, not this line, consider it, the angle of this whole surface from E, A, B and F, this is a plane surface now here, upper surface. The angle of this surface from the center line is theta. This is theta. This angle is theta, the angle of the surface. And what is the thickness of this surface? From E to A or E to B, the thickness of this surface, because this is the other line, and you see that now what I am going to do, this is the surface basically from here to here. This is the upper surface. And what is the thickness? What is this thickness? This is d theta. Okay. So this thickness, the distance from here to here, this is one line going from center, this is other line going from center. This distance is d theta. Okay. It is represented by d theta. And this is the angle of this surface. Please keep in mind, this is not the angle. We are talking about a sphere, not a circle. So this is the angle of this whole surface. And this line is not a single line. This line is basically passing throughout the periphery of the sphere. Just imagine that if you have a watermelon and you cut that watermelon with a sharp plain plate from the center, and that plate would be inserted from one side and it will go throughout the watermelon, throughout the center, and it will go out from the other side, and the half section will be on the upper side and half section would be on the lower side. And you will cut if a small piece of component from the lower side, that will make an angle theta with that one plate. Okay, this figure is actually a most complex figure from the Cartesian coordinate system or a cylindrical coordinate system, keep in mind. So you have the angle theta and thickness of this upper surface, that is d theta. Okay, now let's see the other side. Let's see that this side, the side A, B, C and D. This was the horizontal center line. Now consider the vertical center line. Just assume, just consider that you have cut a watermelon with a plate vertically, and that plate, sharp plate, passes vertically throughout the watermelon, enter from one end and passes throughout the watermelon. So it would be cut into two equal pieces vertically, and that surface, this surface is on the right side of that plate. It can be on the left side. We are considering it on the right side. So this complete surface would make an angle phi with that vertical plate with that vertical line. So we have two major angle scales. The upper surface that is making an angle theta with the horizontal plate, with the horizontal surface, and the vertical side, this side A, B, C, D, that is making an angle phi, the angle of this surface. It doesn't mean that if this line is from here to here, from line C to D, it means it is only making representing the angle of line C and D. If you see the line A and B, the angle of line A and B with this vertical line, that is also phi. Okay, of this line with this vertical line, this is also phi, and the thickness AC or BD, the thickness is d phi. What is the thickness in this direction, in vertical direction? This is d phi. Okay, so I hope so you got an idea. The horizontal surface is making an angle theta, vertical surface is making an angle phi. Horizontal surface has thickness d theta and vertical surface has thickness d phi. Now consider, just consider it. I am not showing the other side. I am just showing one side only, and this thickness is d phi. Okay, so now we have 6 surfaces, 6 sides: upper side, lower side, front side, back side, left side and right side. We need to calculate the heat transfer through all these 6 sides. So first consider, we have the heat transfer into a radial direction, in direction of R, this direction, this direction. So from center to here, the heat is entering from this direction, QR. QR heat is the heat that is passing through this elemental area in a radial direction. So the heat entering to the system is represented by QR, and after passing distance dr, the heat is exited from the other side and it is represented by QR plus dr. QR is heat entering from this direction and QR plus dr is heat leaving from this direction. Okay, now consider the heat that is into the phi direction, in this direction, in theta direction. Theta direction is this one, A to E or B to F. So heat will enter from the left side and will leave from the right side after passing or crossing the thickness d theta. So the heat entering from the left side, you can see this is the heat entering from the left side, from area A, B, C, D. Also mentioned here, Q theta at A, B, C, D. Heat entering in this direction, and after crossing the thickness d theta, heat is leaving on this direction from the right side. This is not from the upper side. This is from the, here. This is from the right side. This one, Q theta plus d theta. And this heat is leaving which one area? EFGH. I am again repeating. Q theta is heat entering from the left side on area A, B, C, D, and Q theta plus D theta is heat leaving from the right side from area E, F, G, H. And why it is Q theta plus D theta? Because it is crossing the thickness T theta. It is always perpendicular to the surface. And now this is the thickness d phi. This is the thickness d phi. So considering the heat in this direction, this is the bottom side, Q phi. Heat entering at area CDGH, and after passing this thickness d phi, heat is leaving from the upper side, that is Q phi plus d phi. Okay. Hope so. It is clear to you. Now, if we want to calculate this thickness d theta, or we want to calculate this thickness d phi, it is not very simple, because it is not a block, it is not a sphere, it is not a rectangle, which has a straight line. With every passing point, the thickness is changing. At the center, it is 0, and at the surface periphery, it is maximum. So it is changing. So the thickness d theta, this thickness A to E, that is equal to R d theta. Just consider it. Now, if you consider this line only, you can consider it is a sector of a circle. So the distance from center to here is R, and angle is d theta. So what would be the length of the sector or length of the arc? That would be R d theta. L is equal to R d theta. Okay. And what is this one? This length. Now this is not simple. It is represented in form of angle theta and angle phi. This A to C is equal to R sine theta. This is theta multiplied by this thickness or angle d phi. Okay. This line is represented by R sine theta d phi. This is angle d phi. This length from here to here, from center to point C, because it is a surface. Keep in mind, it is a surface. It is not just a single line. And it is equal to R sine theta. This length is this length from here to here. It is equal to sine theta, and you will draw this figure by yourself, and you will calculate what is the relation between this line surface and this surface. These two surfaces are perpendicular to each other. Okay. And these are two basically surfaces. It is just like that. If you have two books, keep one book horizontally and other book vertically on the other side of that one. So you will have two surfaces perpendicular to each other. Just like consider your floor and a wall of one side. So there are two surfaces which are perpendicular to each other. These are not two lines basically. So these are two surfaces which are perpendicular to each other. And from here to here, this distance is r sine theta d phi. Okay, from here to here. If you will go from here to here, what you will do? It would be r plus this distance would be added into it, dr into sine theta d phi. Okay, so this was the description. This was some description given to calculate, to mention why this is r sine theta, why this distance is from point center to here. This is why this is r sine theta. I have represented it in a separate line. This is the horizontal surface. This is the vertical surface. This is making angle theta with the horizontal. This is the vertical surface. And this difference is 90 minus theta, and if you convert it, r cos of this is basically the base, r cos 90 minus theta, it would be r sine theta. Okay, so the distance would be r sine theta, and multiply by d theta, you will get the length of the distance from the center. So before proceeding in further discussion, I have explained in a very detail this figure to you. You are supposed to draw this figure. It is a little bit complex figure, so I am giving you 10 minutes to draw this figure. You will draw this figure on your notebook, and at 10:58, we have 10:48 right now. At 10:58, you will take a snapshot of this figure and you will post that snapshot on the group, and then after that we will proceed, and you know that uh, there would be some specific credit for those who will respond in time. So your time starts now. At 10:58, you will post this diagram properly drawn, properly labeled to me. Say 11 o'clock, not 10:58, say 11 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, just draw this figure and post it. Okay, and post it on the group. So stay online, draw this figure and take a snapshot and send to me. So we will come back at 11 o'clock, and till that you will post this figure, and after any figure receiving or received after 11 o'clock will not be accounted for any credit. So proceed please. You can take 2 to 3 minutes more. If you find any shortage of time, you can send figures, say by 11 or 5 as well. No worries. Make a neat, clean, a good looking picture and try to show each and every component within the picture. A detailed, a self explanatory picture there should be. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, आप लोगों के पास 2 मिनट्स रह गए, तो अब 11:05 पे जो है वो हम इसको क्लोज कर देंगे, देन वी विल प्रोसीड. So if anyone student who has left to send the figure, he or she can send by 11:05. Okay students, we are proceeding to our next slides. Okay ji. From here, let's see what are the coordinates mentioned in this figure. The coordinates are r, theta and phi. And heat transfer, you can see the figure available with you. In r direction is qr, q theta, and in phi direction it is q phi. And the heat flux in r theta and phi direction is small qr, small q theta and small q phi. And the thickness in r direction is dr, theta direction is rt theta, and in phi direction is it is r sin theta d phi. And I explained you why it is r sin theta d phi. We have seen in this picture and as well in this picture. Okay, this is basically the r sin theta. This is the upper side, upper surface. This is the other surface, d phi, perpendicular to this surface. This is r d theta, and this distance is r sin theta. This distance is going in this way. This is r sin theta, and if you want to calculate the length of r, this would be r sin theta d phi. Okay, so you have to draw this figure as well, but at later on stages, because we don't need at the moment this figure. So what we have to do, we have to develop an energy balance equation for the spherical coordinate system. So energy balance for small element is obtained from the first law of thermodynamics. In the similar manner we have done for the Cartesian and cylindrical coordinate system. Net heat conducted into the element in dr, r d theta and r sin theta d phi. These are three directions basically. Per unit time, this is component 1, internal heat generated per unit time, this is component 2, is equal to increase in internal energy per unit time, this is component 3. and plus work done by the element per unit time. This is component 4. The fourth term is Saman because the work done by the element due to the change in temperature is neglected. We know that the when there is a change in temperature, there is a very minute change into the volume of the system. So almost the work done is zero. So the net heat conducted into the element in all these three directions would be Q in minus Q out, plus if there is any heat generation within the system would be equal to rate of change in internal energy. Only this term would be left and this would become same. Okay. So what is the heat input to the system? QR plus Q theta plus Q phi. And what is heat that is exiting or out from the system? That is minus QR plus TR plus Q theta plus D theta and plus Q phi plus D phi plus internal heat generation is equal to change in internal energy. Rate of change is mCp delta T, and if there is a change divided by time, partial tau is representing the time. So mc, C is basically Cp, partial T over partial tau. And if you want to write here, so m is equal to rho v, because you know that density is equal to m over v, mass per unit volume. So volume will be multiplied by density, you will get the value of mass. So this is equal to rho Vc partial T over partial tau. Okay. So I have already defined what is QR, be the heat flux in R direction at phase AECD, and QR plus DR with the heat flux at R plus TR direction at phase BDFH. And in the similar manner, Q theta and Q phi are also explained. Q theta is the heat flux in theta direction at phase ABCD, and Q theta plus D theta with the heat flux at theta plus D theta direction at phase EFGH. Q phi with the heat flux in phi direction at phase DHCG, and Q phi plus D phi with the heat flux at phi plus D phi direction at phase AEB. So now the rate of heat transfer in R theta and phi direction is given by what is QR? Now it is a technical. I am just writing here a simple Fourier equation. Q is equal to K and minus sign is also with it. So what is QR? See your figure. Minus K is also there. This is the area. This is the area. Okay. R square d theta sine theta d phi. You know that area is multiplication of two sides. And if we are considering the R direction, we will multiply by this side by this side. So this side is R sine theta d phi and this side is R d theta. So multiply both sides, you will get R square sine theta d phi and d theta. Multiply both sides. r square d theta sine theta d phi. And what is the thickness? That is dr. Dx is basically dr here, thickness in r direction. And on the other side, qr plus dr is equal to qr plus partial over partial r qr into dr plus so and so. You know this Taylor and Maclaurin series, and the higher terms are neglected. In the similar manner, we have done for the cylindrical and Cartesian coordinate systems. Similarly, q theta is equal to minus k, same, r dr sine theta d phi into partial d over dx is equal to r d theta. Now the thickness is in theta direction, that is r d theta. You can see this thickness is r d theta. So divided by r d theta, not only by d theta. This is thickness is, you will divide it by this thickness. This is r d theta. Okay. So it is k r dr sine theta d phi partial t over r d theta, and q theta plus d theta is equal to q theta plus partial over partial theta q theta into d theta plus so and so. And what is the heat transfer rate into phi direction is equal to minus k, because it is a constant, r d theta dr, the area, over thickness. What is thickness? R sine theta d phi. Look at this figure. We are in phi direction. This is the phi direction. And what is the area? This one, r sine theta d phi into this one. Dr. Okay. This one. This is the phi direction. This one into this one. A, B, C, D. So this thickness is r sine theta d phi, and this thickness is dr. So multiply these two with each other. And thickness is r sine theta d phi into the phi direction. What is the thickness? In phi direction, what is the thickness? This is the thickness, because this is q phi. Okay, this is q phi. And this is the thickness in this direction towards the q phi plus d phi. Okay, so you have r d theta dr dt over r sine theta d phi, and q phi plus d phi is equal to q phi plus partial over partial by q phi, and so on, in the same manner. So now by putting all values in equation 1, we have, if you will put the value of q theta phi and qr q theta q phi and qr plus dr q theta plus d theta and q phi plus d phi in this equation, keep this term same, put the values of these, you will get this final term, because this q and q, this theta and theta, this phi and phi would be cancelled out, and you will get this these terms with the negative sign, minus partial over partial r q r dr minus partial over partial theta q theta d theta minus partial over partial phi q phi d phi plus q triple dash into v, that is the internal heat generation, is equal to rho v c partial t over partial tau. Now put the value of qr, q theta and q phi that is given to you here, this and this. So minus partial over partial r minus k r square d theta sin theta d phi partial t over partial r dr minus partial over partial theta minus k into r dr sin theta d phi into partial theta over r partial theta into d theta minus partial over partial phi minus k r d theta dr partial t over partial psi r sin theta partial phi into d phi plus q triple dash over v into v is equal to rho vc partial t over partial tau. So in all these terms you can see that minus k is constant, dr is same constant, d theta is constant in all these three terms, and sin theta is constant. So multiply this negative sign everywhere from the inside, so all terms would become positive, and take this term outside from this, okay, plus take this term outside from this, and take this term outside from this, because these are constants. So separate the constants, you will get q triple dash v is equal to this. So you can see in all these three terms, no k is common, dr is common, d theta is common, and d phi is common. Okay, so you can take k dr d theta d phi common. So this represents basically the product of dr r d theta r sin theta d phi. This represents the volume. If you multiply this side, and this side, you will get the volume. So it is representing the volume of the system. Hence, by dividing both sides of the above equation by k into v, in place of v, you will write basically this term. It is obtained that 1 over r square into partial over partial r square partial t over partial r plus 1 over r square sin theta partial over partial theta sin theta partial t over partial theta plus 1 over r square sin square theta partial over partial phi partial t over partial phi plus q triple dash over k is equal to 1 over alpha, that is the thermal diffusivity, into partial t over partial tau. So basically you have divided the all two sides with the v. So in this side v would be cancelled out with v, and here on place of v you have write the value of v. So by putting the values and simplifying, you will get this equation. This equation is called unsteady state equation for the spherical coordinate system, because there are so many partial derivatives are involved. So this equation is in the same manner you have tried for the Cartesian coordinate system and the cylindrical coordinate system. So to calculate the heat transfer through a sphere with different cases, we have calculated for the cylinder and Cartesian coordinate system with and without internal heat generation. We have the similar case here for the sphere as well. Consider a hollow sphere whose inside and outside radii are Ri and R naught respectively. Inner and outer surfaces are maintained at temperature Ti and T naught with uniform thermal conductivity K. So we have a sphere whose inner temperature is maintained at temperature Ti and outer surface temperature is maintained at temperature T naught, and there is no internal heat generation. The thermal conductivity is constant. So in this system we have considered a small piece of element from the sphere here with thickness dr whose distance from the center is r. This is the inner radii Ri and this is the outer radii R naught, and this is the small piece of element within Ri and R naught, and we assume that Ti is greater than T naught. So if inner temperature is greater than T naught, it means heat would flow from inside to outside. Now inner temperature is greater, it doesn't mean there is an internal heat generation source. Let us assume that if you have a hollow cylinder and if you have inserted any outer heating element within it, then it will heat it from the inside and heat will flow from inside to outside. But that is not internal heat generation. Yes, if you heat that element by an electric current, then that would be internal heat generation. Now again there is an electrical analog for this system. This is the inner side and this is the outer side, and this is the temperature, this is the resistance between the inner and outer temperature, and this is the thermal resistance. And I am not going to explain at this stage how this thermal resistance has been derived, because at the later stage we have an explanation for it. So assume no heat generation, steady state temperature variations only in radial direction from general heat conduction equation. We have derived this equation right now. Say it is equation 3. Hence equation 3 can be written in terms of radius r, because we are considering that there is only heat generation, heat transfer in the radial direction. So r other directions, theta, phi would become equal to 0. Okay. So since there is no internal heat generation, this term would also be 0. This would be also 0. So if you will take a derivative of this term only that is left, you will get partial square T over partial R square plus 2 over R partial T over partial R is equal to 1 over alpha partial T over partial tau. If you will assume that it is a steady state, this term would also become equal to 0. So now the heat conduction equation becomes partial square T over partial R square plus 2 over R partial T over partial R is equal to 0. This would equal to 0. This would also equal to 0 if it is a steady state conduction, and if there is no internal heat generation, this term would also be equal to 0. So multiplying by r square throughout, we get, you multiply this equation on both sides by r square, you will get r square d square theta over dr square plus 2r dt over dr is equal to 0. Why we have multiplied it by r square? It is an open derivative. If you again close it, you will get d over dr r square dt over dr equal to 0. This one. And you can write it in this manner. Now you can see we have wrote this equation in double derivative form. So if we want to solve this equation by integration, we need to take double integration of this equation, and to find the values of constant, we need to know about the boundary limits. So integrating equation, you will take the first integration, you will get r square dt over dr is equal to c1, and then you will take second integration, separate the derivatives and take second integration, you will get d is equal to minus c1 over r plus c2, and to find the value of c1 and c2, you have to apply the boundary limits. So at t is equal to ti, at the center, at is equal to ri, you have this equation ti is equal to c1 over ri plus c2. Okay, from this equation ti is equal to c1 over ri plus c2, and at t is equal to t naught, at r is equal to r naught, you have this equation t naught is equal to minus c2 over r naught plus c2, c1 over r naught plus c2. So by simultaneously solving equation 6 and 7, you will get the value of c1 and c2 in this manner, and to put the values of c1 and c2 in this equation, equation 5, you will get the general heat temperature distribution equation in terms of c1 and c2, and in place of c1 and c2 you have put these values. So you get equation 8 is equal to ti minus t naught over 1 over r naught minus 1 over ri into 1 over r minus 1 over ri. Okay, this r is the distance at any point in between ri and r naught. This is the general r that is multiplied here, and r is equal to ri and r is equal to r naught. And what is r? R is the any distance between ri and r naught. So T is the called temperature distribution for hollow sphere. Hollow sphere means it is the sphere hollow from the inside. To find heat flow, Q is equal to minus K A dt over dr is equal to minus K. To find the area of a sphere, you have 4 pi r square dt over dr. And if you separate it Q into shift this dr and r square on this side and dt on this side, because when you want to take the integration, first you separate the variable. So r is a variable, it is on one side, and d is a variable that is on the other side. So by integrating this equation from this side from ri to r naught and this side from ti to t naught, you will solve it simultaneously. You will get minus q into 1 over r naught into minus 1 over ri is equal to minus 4k t naught minus ti. So if you will simultaneously solve this equation, you will get q is equal to 4 pi k r naught minus ri into ti minus t naught over r naught minus ri. So from here you get the thermal resistance. Pick this whole term and shift it in the denominator. you will get R naught minus Ri over 4 pi K R naught minus Ri, and this term would be the thermal resistance of the sphere. And if you see in this figure here, this is basically R naught minus Ri. This is not R into R. There is some error like that. This is minus sign, so correct it. Let me check it again. This is actually a minus. Okay, this is a minus sign, so correct that one. So this is the thermal resistance basically. Okay, so if this is the equation for thermal resistance and this is the equation for heat conduction for a hollow sphere without internal generation. And if we consider another case, heat conduction through a sphere with internal generation, then what would happen? In the previous case, in the similar manner, we will just consider the heat conduction due to internal heat generation. So let us consider a sphere of radius r and uniform thermal conductivity K. Consider an elemental ring of radius r and thickness dr. Heat generated is dr is Qg. This is the heat generated within the system. Let us electric current is passing through the sphere causes uniform generation within the space. I tell you, if electric current is passing, it is internal heat generation. Let the surface temperature of the sphere be Tw and heat generated in the sphere is Q triple dash. From general heat conduction equation, you have this one. R, theta and phi direction. This is internal heat generation and this is the change in internal energy. So because heat is only flowing in one direction, so this term would be 0, this term would be 0, and there is because internal heat generation, it will remain here, and if we consider a steady state, this would also become 0. So equation 11 would become in this manner. Okay, let me show you on the next slide. This is basically the elemental ring we have considered. It is a hollow cylinder, heat generated from the inside. This is the small elemental ring we have considered. This is the outer surface of the wall that is maintained at temperature Tw, and this is the inner surface of the wall that is maintained at temperature Ti, and this is the outer temperature or environmental temperature, and this is basically the arbitrary surface or boundary that is separating the system from the surroundings. So Ti inner temperature is greater than Tw, so heat will flow from inside to outside. It has a uniform thermal conductivity. Thickness of this part is small r, and from here to here this is capital R, and from here to here this is dr. Sorry, from here to here the thickness of small elemental ring. So the heat going out of this system is Qr plus dr, and if there are convection losses, you will mention H. You can see you have considered the same case in case of cylinder. Since there is a steady state conduction in radial direction, only the internal heat generation, all the other terms will become equal to 0. Hence equation 13 or 14 whatsoever we have seen before would become this: 1 over r square partial over partial r square partial t over partial r plus q triple dash over k is equal to 0. All terms other than this and this becomes 0. So this plus this equal to 0. So you have this equation. So again, by simplifying this equation, you can write, if you multiply both sides by r square, don't take this r square outside of this because it is a variable. This is a constant and this is a variable because it is with partial r. So multiply r square on the both sides. This r would be cancelled from here. You will get q r square on this side over k is equal to, when r would be multiplied by 0, you will get 0. So partial over partial r square partial t over partial r plus q triple dash r square over k is equal to 0. And you can write this equation in terms of complete derivatives as well. D over dr into r square dt over dr plus q triple dash r square over k is equal to 0. Now you can see that here it has a double derivative. So to solve this equation 12, you will have to integrate this equation. So integrating the above equation, you will take the first integral, this derivative would be cancelled out. So you will get r square dt over dr is equal to, when it will go on the other side, it would become minus q triple dash. When you will take the derivative of r square, it would become r power 3 over 3. So it would become q triple dash r power 3 over 3 k plus c1. Take the next integral, you will get dt over dr, integral of it, shift this r square on the other side, minus q triple dash over 3k r power 3 over r square plus c1 over r square. So you will get t is equal to minus q triple dash r square over 6k, because this r square would be cancelled out by r3 and you will get only r. And when you will take the integration of this, it would become r square over 2, and when you multiply 2 by 3, you will get 6 plus c1 over r, because it is into the denominator. And when you will take the integration of this, this positive would become negative plus c2. So now by solving this equation, you can get the values of c1 and c2 if you apply the boundary limits, and then you can simplify this equation for temperature distribution. To find c1 and c2, apply boundary conditions at dt over dr is equal to 0. When there is a temperature gradient in r direction is 0, steady state condition, r equal to 0, it is at the center, and t is equal to tw at r is equal to r at the outer periphery. By applying first boundary condition, put dt over dr is equal to 0, you will get c1 equal to 0. Put first boundary condition. Okay, here. And now equation 5 becomes this is basically equation 13 actually. Maybe some mistakenly it is written here 5. T is equal to minus q triple dash r square over 6k plus c2, because this parameter becomes 0. c1 equal to 0. c1 equal to 0. Now you need to find the value of c2. Apply boundary condition 2. t2 is equal to minus q triple dash r square over 6k plus c2, and from here you separate the c2 tw q triple dash r square over 6k. Substituting the value of c1 and c2 in equation 13, in this equation you will get the value t is equal to tw plus q triple dash over 6k r square minus r, and by further simplifying this equation, t is equal to tw q triple dash over 6k r square into 1 minus r over r whole square. Okay, so this equation 14 is basically the general temperature distribution equation for a sphere with internal heat generation. So if you want to find the temperature at the center where the temperature would be maximum, at center T is equal to Tc and R is equal to 0. So put R is equal to 0 in this equation, this R, this small r, put this equal to 0 in this equation, you will get Tc is equal to Tw plus Q triple dash R square over 6k. And if you want to calculate, so at the center Tc is also called maximum temperature, this one. To find wall or surface temperature Tw, you need to calculate heat generated within the sphere. Q is equal to V into Q triple dash. So put the value of V here, 4 over 3 pi r cube into q triple dash. So this would be the heat generated within the sphere. Heat transfer due to convection on the surface of the sphere. You know that the convection heat transfer equation Q is equal to H A T W minus T infinity, and Q is equal to H, put the value of A 4 pi r square T W minus T infinity. So equating equation 16 and 7, because you know that the amount of heat produced within the sphere would be equal to the amount of heat that would be transferred from the surface of the sphere to the environment. So both these heats should be equal. So by equating these two equations, you will get the wall temperature in terms of environmental temperature, heat generated within the system, R, and convective heat transfer coefficient. So hence in this way you can calculate the temperature of the surface of the sphere with internal heat generation. So this was all about heat generation within a sphere. We have studied the general heat conduction equation. We have studied the two cases. First case is with without internal generation, and second case is with internal generation. So we have some numerical problems here. In the similar manner we have discussed for the cylinder and Cartesian coordinate system. These are very simple. We just quickly go through these. The numerical is a hollow sphere 10 centimeter inner diameter and 30 centimeter outer diameter of a material having thermal conductivity 50 K. So you have the inner dia and outer dia and thermal conductivity of the material, and it is used as a container for a liquid chemical mixture. Its inner and outer surface temperature are maintained at 300 degrees centigrade and 100 degrees centigrade respectively. So inner and outer temperatures are at 300 and 100. Determine the heat flow rate through the sphere. Also estimate the temperature at the point quarter way between the inner and outer surface. So quarter way mean 1/4. So you have a sphere, its inner dia is 10, outer dia is 30. You can calculate easily the radius, inner radius and outer radius. Just divide inner radius dia and outer dia by 2. So this is the thermal resistance of this sphere. We have studied for it. So Q is equal to 4 pi R naught Ri K Ti minus T naught over R naught minus Ri. Put the value of all parameters. You have the value here, multiply 4 into pi, you will get this. You have the value of R naught, you have the value of Ri, you have the value of K, you have the inner and outer temperatures. You will get this. Convert all the units in SI units, keep in mind. These should be in meters. It should be in SI unit, it should be in SI unit, these should be in kelvins. The value of R at 1/4 we have the inner and outer surfaces. R is equal to 7.5 centimeter. Temperature R is equal to 7.5 centimeter, that is 5 plus 1 over 4 into 15 minus 5 is equal to 7.5 centimeter. It is the radius. We have calculated quarter of the way. Mean from the center and from the outer surface we have taken the distance, that is equal to 1/4 of the radius. So T is equal to R naught over R minus Ri over R naught minus Ri, T naught minus Ti plus Ti. So by putting all values in this equation. This is basically the way how this has been calculated. Putting all these values in this equation, you will get the temperature at 1/4 part of the sphere. Problem 2 is the average heat produced by oranges ripening is estimated to be 3 watt per meter square. Take the average size of an orange to be 8 centimeter and assume to be a sphere with K is equal to 0.15 watt per meter per Kelvin. Calculate the temperature at the center of the orange. So heat per unit area is given, dia is given. You can calculate R from the dia and thermal conductivity is given. So maximum temperature you have to find, that would be at the center. So you have Q over A is equal to Q triple dash volume over area. So put the value of volume and area and simplify this equation. You will get this one. This would give the heat generated within the system. So you have the value of Q and you have the value of N R. By simplifying this equation, you will get the heat generated within the system, this one. Now to calculate the temperature at the center, you have T max is equal to T infinity plus Q triple dash over R square over 6K. You have the value of T infinity environmental temperature, Q triple dash, you have the value of R square and you have the value of K. You will get the maximum temperature, that is 50 at the center. Clear? So this was all about for the today's lecture. And there are some exercise problems as well from your book, and you have to consult those problems. I will give you the problem numbers as well, and there are some other examples as well. So the book must be with you in next week. I already told you, and there should be no excuse that in coming week there are maybe the Eid holidays or something like that, because there are a long Eid holidays and during online classes you would have some homework like assignments, something like this within the Eid holidays, because there are 2 Saturday Sundays and there is a much gap. So there would be some home assignments for you people. So the book must be with you. I already told you, you can get this book from the MBQ Photo State at main campus UET Lahore, and I know that many of students are not from Lahore. So you have to contact with your colleagues who are in Lahore. They can collect this book for you. Either they can post, because I asked them to convert this book in a very small booklet. You will get it maybe into 200, 300, something like that. I am not sure, because I asked them to double print it and 2 pages or or double copy the pages on 1 page. So overall 4 pages on 1 sheet on both sides. So it becomes a very small booklet. So you can collect from here, or otherwise you have the book name, you have the author name, you can search it from the online. And of course the online version is, I think, not free, but you are smart enough if you can use some torrents or something like hacking technologies, and you can maybe get a PDF of this book. Okay, so thank you so much for this theory lecture. Let me take your attendance. Just hold a second.